Well, we're taking a live look as former President Jimmy Carter lies in state in Washington, D.C. Just in the past couple minutes, the doors have opened for the public to pay respects here at the Capitol Rotunda. Today will be a quiet day of visitation, leading into tomorrow's ceremonies and National Day of Mourning for the 39th president.
And here's a look at Carter's memorial schedule. The public will be able to pay their respects all day today. Then tomorrow morning, he'll be brought to the Washington National Cathedral, where President Joe Biden will deliver a eulogy. And after that, Carter will be flown down to Georgia. Tomorrow afternoon, he'll have a private service and a final motorcade through his hometown of Plains, which will be his final resting place.
Carter is being remembered for both his time in office and for his decades of charity work, which lasted well into his 90s.
And this morning, News 8's Maddie Franz shows us how both elements of his legacy are being honored across the country and right here in the Quad Cities.
Former President Jimmy Carter is lying in state, surrounded by his family, U.S. lawmakers, and Supreme Court justices.
Today we gather to celebrate the life of a man whose works will echo for generations to come.
Vice President Kamala Harris recalled his accomplishments, from environmental legislation to starting the Departments of Energy and Education.
And in the wake of Watergate, Jimmy Carter passed historic ethics legislation to help rebuild America's faith in government.
Harris also talked about his post-presidential work. That includes Carter and his wife's long relationship with Habitat for Humanity.
How on their first trip for Habitat for Humanity, Jimmy and Rosalind rode the bus with the other volunteers.
He found that providing and helping to provide affordable housing was important to them.
Tom Fisher-King, CEO of Habitat for Humanity Quad Cities, says the Carters popularized Habitat across the country. Months after that first trip, they started the Carter Work Project. It's an annual home building blitz where volunteers put up dozens of houses over a week.
Each year, that focuses on a potentially different state, different cities, and we build massive amounts of Habitat homes.
Fisher-King says their impact is still felt today, with more than 100,000 volunteers inspired by the Carters.
People followed and thought, Jimmy Carter can do it, why can't I do it?
News 8's Maddie France reporting Carter's political legacy is still making an impact on Iowa nearly half a century after his presidency. When Carter came for the 1976 Iowa caucuses, local historians say he was not the favorite.
While uncommitted delegates technically came in first, Carter ended up as the candidate with the most votes. One former Cedar Rapids resident is reflecting on that campaign when he and Carter's daughter-in-law crossed paths.
She was working 16 to 18 hours a day on the campaign in Cedar Rapids, where I lived at the time. And so she was basically using us like a B&B, only without the breakfast part. Since I was supporting him, I had the belief that he could do it.
He says before Carter's daughter-in-law arrived, he also briefly hosted the former president's late wife, Rosalind.